Hi everyone, it's Susie from the Smoky Lake Public Library. Welcome to After School Adventures. This week we are going to be making some puppets. So our first puppet is really easy to make. It's a finger puppet. So it just sits on the end of the finger and you go like this to move it around. It's really easy and it's really fun. All you need are some pipe cleaners, a couple of pom-poms. You can use some googly eyes if you have, or if you don't have googly eyes, just a paper and a pen. You need some glue, some white glue, and some scissors. All right, so first step is to make the face of your puppet. So I'm going to make an animal puppet. I think I will make a bear puppet. So the face is going to be living on your pom-pom. So I have an orange pom-pom and then a little pink one that I'll use for the nose. And so yeah, you can just do whatever you like. I'm going to draw some eyes on my paper and I'll glue that onto the pom-pom as well. So I cut out a teeny tiny set of eyes. And now the last step is just to glue everything on. So I'm going to take my nose, take my eyes, and then the last thing a bear usually has is a pair of ears, right? So I'm going to use a pipe cleaner for that and just loop them into a tiny set of bear ears. So just two little round loops. This craft would also be great for doing like a bunny rabbit, right? Because they've got really great big ears. So just like that. And then that goes stuck on the back of the head. So these puppets are more abstract, which means we're kind of a little bit more creative with them. We're not going to get all the details right, but that's okay. So I've got my head here and it's just going to dry. And in the meantime, we just need to make the part that will stick to our finger, right? So all you do is take a full-size pipe cleaner and just start winding it around your finger. So you might end up doing it a couple times just to figure out what kind of size you want. But what you do want is the end to be at the very top of your finger. So that is a little bit low for me. So I'm going to try one more time because the pom-pom has to be right at the end. So it kind of needs a little area to sit on. So keep winding it until right at the end. See, there's the tip of my finger, and then I'm going to go just past. Like that. So there's a nice little spot for my pipe cleaner to sit. So now I'm going to gently just take that off and set that aside. And put some glue on the bottom of the pom-pom. And place that on the very top. So he probably doesn't really look like a bear, but that's how I'm imagining him. And that's it, that's the puppet. This puppet is very nice, but I want one that moves a little bit more like a real animal would move. Let's try our next puppet. All right, our next puppet is going to be a little bit more involved than our last one. It'll be a little bit more difficult to make, but it's going to be the kind of puppet that's on strings, so you're going to be able to move it in a really cool way, and it is going to be a dog puppet. So what you'll need for this one is a couple of toilet paper rolls. So I've already colored mine. My dog's body is going to be blue, so I've already colored mine the color I want. You'll need 4 of these bendy straws. So they need to be the kind with the bend in them. You'll need 2 popsicle sticks. You'll need some yarn. You'll need a pencil, a nice sharp pencil, some glue, a pair of scissors, and then if you have googly eyes, you can use googly eyes or just paper and pen for your eyes. All right. So first step, after you've colored your tubes the color you want, leave one intact for the body and then cut one in half. So the half will be the head. All right, so I'm also going to use this. This will be ears, and then make sure it's all nice. It'll probably get a little squished when you cut it, but that's okay. You can just fluff it back up. So there we go. All right, so for the ears, just go ahead and cut through like that. And then go ahead and we're kind of keeping the curve, but cut through on the opposite side again. So we've got 2 halves of curved cardboard, and then just cut into the ear shape. But just try and keep that nice bend that we have going. So cut out 2 ears. So now we have our ears, so let's stick them on the head. So go ahead and take your head and kind of pick the top. And we're gluing the ears right on top, right? But we're gonna leave the bottom part unglued because we want the ears to kind of come away from the head a little bit. So I'm just putting a dot right there, and that's the point where I'm gluing it. So put those ears side by side, and then if you want the ears to stick out a little bit more, you can even kind of bend the cardboard in like that, and then they'll stick out even more. Oops. So go ahead and let those dry. And while those are drying, we're going to take our 2 popsicle sticks and we need to glue them into a cross shape like that. So just a spot of glue right in the center of one. So now we've got our head drying, we've got the popsicle sticks drying. So now we'll take our big cardboard tube, that's the body. So what we need to do is we need to punch 4 holes in the bottom of our tube for the dog's legs. So I'm going to use a pencil, just a nice sharp pencil. If you have a hole punch, obviously that'll work too. But if you don't have a hole punch, a sharp pencil should work as long as your toilet paper tube cardboard is not too thick. If it is too thick, then you might want to get a parent to help. But go ahead and just poke 4 holes right in the bottom. You don't have to be exact. We're just kind of imagining where a dog's legs would be, right? Okay, so go ahead and make sure that the holes are big enough for you to stick some yarn through, because that'll be our next step. But here's how I did mine. So I just eyeballed it. So now we need 2 short pieces of yarn. So I've got a piece of yarn here. I'm just going to cut it. So you can go however long you want with these. The way they're going to go is just threaded through 2 of the holes like that. So that's going to be about the length of my legs, but there is going to be a knot on the end. So take a little bit off. And then if you decide you want to trim it down after, if you think it's not or a little bit too long, you can do that too. But we're just threading through like a pair of front and back legs, right? All right, so there's one set, and I'll do the second set. All right, so here's the legs, but they're kind of like too loose, right? So that's where our bendy straws come in. So these are going to be our feet. So the bendy part is going to kind of be like at the ankle. So it's going to be like this shape, right? So you don't need a lot of straw on either side. So go ahead and trim it down, leaving maybe like a centimeter at the most on each side. And then you've got a nice little foot shape. So go ahead and cut out that shape 4 times, 1 for each foot. All right, so I've got his little feet. So now what you do is you just stick it through on one side, stick the yarn all the way through. I guess I shouldn't have bent them yet. But then just tie a knot on the end of your yarn. So here's my straw. I'm just pushing it way up and out of my way for now. And then I'm tying a knot so that the straw doesn't fall off. So just like that. So then I'll trim off the little fluff on the end, push down the straw part, give it a little bend, And there is one of the feet. So go ahead and do that for every foot. Alright, so here are my little legs. Now we have to go onto the top of the body. So we need to punch a hole on the top on both ends. So just kind of go right in between your legs. Just try and kind of look and see. And then we have to just poke a hole, again, just with a pencil or with a hole punch through both ends. Just like that. I did one that was kind of off, so I just poked a separate one there. But that's how it's looking so far. Now we need some more yarn. This time I have yellow yarn. So this time we need a longer piece of yarn. So maybe this, or maybe even I'll give a little bit extra. So like this long. And then thread it through those two top holes that you just made. So it's just like that. And now we need to do that on the head as well, because it's going to go through the body and then up through the head. So again, just a couple of holes, this time one on the top and one on the bottom, because it's going to kind of run through like a neck. Alright, so here is how it is so far. So go ahead and just kind of even out the string, and then we are tying it to our popsicle stick cross. So we're going to take it and we're going to tie onto this one end, and you can place some glue or tape it down or something to make sure it kind of stays put. I'm just going to place a little dot of glue once I've tied it on. There, so I've just tied it on. The knot and the string going down are on the bottom. And then, like I said, I just want to make sure it stays, so I'm going to stick a little bit of glue on top, or if you've got some tape, that'll work too, just to make sure it kind of stays in the same spot. And then do that same thing on the other end. So just go ahead and tie it and glue. So now I'm going to set that aside and let it dry, and then I'm just going to do some eyes for my dog. Alright, so my glue spots are drying. I've stuck on the eyes. So the last step is just a little tail. So you can just use part of your straw remnant, or if you have another bending straw, you can make him a nice curly tail, or you could just use some paper. So go ahead and make your little doggy a little doggy tail. Mine is going to have a stick straight tail, and I'm going to make it nice and short. And there it is. So the way you move it is just kind of pivot your hand back and forth, and then it's like he's walking. Neat, right? I hope you enjoyed making puppets. I think they're really fun and pretty easy to make. So go ahead and try make one of your own at home. That's all I have this week, but I will be back next week with another video, and I hope to see you guys then. Goodbye!